Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord's glorious acts and His acceptance of various transcendental forms for the performance of extraordinary pastimes in the mortal world are very difficult for anyone other than His devotees to understand. And for the beasts, they are simply a mental disturbance. Purport. The transcendental forms and pastimes of the Lord, as described in Bhagavad Gita, are difficult subject matter for those who are not devotees to understand. The Lord never reveals Himself to persons like the Jnanis and Yogis. And there are others who, because of their envying the Lord from the bottom of their hearts, are classified amongst the beasts. And for such envious beasts, the subject matter of the Lord's appearance and disappearance is simply a mental disturbance. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:15, the miscreants who are simply concerned with material enjoyment, who work very hard like beasts of burden, can hardly know the personality of Godhead at any stage due to asurika bhava, or a spirit of revolt against the Supreme Lord. The transcendental bodily expansions manifested by the Lord for His pastimes in the mortal world, and the appearance and disappearance of such transcendental expansions are difficult subject matters. And those who are not devotees are advised not to discuss the Lord's appearance and disappearance, lest they commit further offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord. The more they discuss the transcendental appearance and disappearance of the Lord in the asuric spirit, the more they enter into the darkest region of hell, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 16:20. Anyone who is against the transcendental loving service of the Lord is more or less a beastly creature, as confirmed in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adigaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripakam Vande Shri Guru Dinakaranam Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschati Deshta Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you so much, devotees, and I seek your blessings, everyone here, wonderful souls, well learned, Adi Guru Prabhu, Gopal Prabhu, everyone here, very Prayojan Prabhus. Maybe by your glance, something good will come out. We also take blessing of all the online devotees and Mataji's here. So today is also the disappearance day of Abhiram Thakur, Srila Abhiram Thakur. So we will have some discussion on this verse, and then we will also discuss the pastimes of Srila Abhiram Thakur. So we are here, arrived here at this verse 34. It's almost the samvad, or the discussion between Vidur and Uddhav has ended. Parikshit Maharaj asked a question as to how Uddhav was left alone. Shukdev Goswami then, in brief, mentions the disappearance Leela of the Yadus, how Lord withdrew all his devotees, all his pastimes from the mortal world and returned to his Goloka. He's always there, but also he disappeared. A very apt analogy of sun. How beautiful the analogy is, like sun. Uddhav says in the previous chapter verse how the sun of Lord Sri Krishna has set from their eyes, and they've been now taken over, consumed by this snake-like time. There's so many analogies. So one beautiful analogy I read was about how Uddhav is explaining Yadus did not fully understand the glories of the Lord. And he compared, interestingly, how this is how almost like fish thinks of the moon. How does fish think of the moon? It says in the previous verse somewhere, it says that in the scriptures it is mentioned that the moon appeared from the ocean. So the source of moon is the ocean. The birth, the yoni is the ocean. Similarly, fish are also taking birth in the ocean. So Yadus were thinking moon is another bright fish. What amazing analogy. This is how Lord's Maya can work. But they were great devotees of the Lord. So we are on this verse, and the verse Srila Prabhupada mentions about the transcendental forms and pastimes of the Lord is difficult subject matter for the Asuric Bhava. And Srila Prabhupada quotes 7:15. Who are Naradhamas, who cannot understand the pastimes of the Lord. Namam duskritano muda prapadyante naradhama maya prahita jnana asurik bhavam ashrita. So these are 4 types of foolish people. First is the foolish muda. Prabhupada said these are beasts of burden. Beasts of burden also like a donkey, ass. In India it's more popular. Here it could be almost animal abuse, if you like. It could be a massive problem. So in India they are like, the washermen use the beast. They load all the wet clothes and dry clothes on the beast and move them around. This is how all these mudas, Prabhupada explains in that verse, are carrying the load of how we want to do more work, gain more material objectives, build this, build that, massive buildings, and go to the space, make a space there, and creates more disturbance. So these mudas create more disturbance in the society. And these are many types of mudas. There are also some of them ignoring the religious principles, and some of them just naradhamas, the lowest of the mankinds. So we also see how is this still relevant? Is that still relevant? Maybe not as much, or maybe it is. Maybe the book distributors may be meeting more such people. But in India it is so popular, like the varieties of such. They are very destructive in a creative way. So all these, they are all coming with the varieties of reasons as to some of them would say, oh, you know how the Lord also disappeared and he was like killed by a hunter because of the karma. Now Krishna, if they had read a little bit of Bhagavad Gita also, they know Krishna says clearly, na karma phale, he says, namam limpanti karmani, name karma phale spriha. The Lord is not entangled by this. Lord comes by his own wish, own desire, and requested by devotees, Lord Brahma, and then Advaita Acharya for our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord appears on the request of devotees to do what? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyatanam adharmasya tadatmanyam sadyamiham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuga yuga. He's saying again and again in the 4th chapter is like so apt. Anyone who reads 4th chapter, they should not have any doubt. But this, what is amazing is, when someone is not a devotee, when they read the same verses, they come up with a completely different and destructive meaning. How does that happen? Like, how does the devotee get, I mean, like how beautiful verses and translation Prabhupada explains us, and how these Mayavadis, how they, destroy the whole purpose or the meaning of Bhagavad. That's why Prabhupada has given Bhagavad Gita as it is. Some of them would also say he was cursed by Brahmanas. How can Brahmanas curse Lord? Like, Brahmanas are worshippers of the Lord. And Lord also worships Brahmanas. And the recent thing, there's another group coming up which is like reverse engineering. I was shocked when someone told me something like that. He said that, actually, you know what? Lord Krishna, your Krishna, he says, is the Son of God. Okay? How is that? Because, see, Jesus was Son of God. He is a shepherd. Krishna is a coward. I said, what are you talking? What do you eat? I said, how do you get these, destructive ideas? But this is Krishna in the 16th chapter. It says, as the demoniac people, they get more and more envious of the Lord, they are thrown into the darkest region. So Krishna, because he is sitting within our heart, and he's just fulfilling fulfilling the desires. Someone desires to be away from the Lord, they are given that full facility. Okay, that's what you desire. And Krishna within the heart gives them the jnana, smriti, and moha. All these things. So it gives them knowledge, remembrance, and the forgetfulness. So these are so boring topics in a way, but I think somehow we have to address this. We have to address. Prabhupada also mentioned that again and again. And sometimes I think that, why does Prabhupada say so many times? Maybe there's a danger that I can also become at some stage someone like him, or someone like the people who are. Prabhupada is very protective of us, his devotees. And that's the perfect mood of a mother, like how the parents, the father, grandfather, how we are protected spiritually. We don't do the spiritual suicide, commit the spiritual suicide. This is Prabhupada's wonderful Leela. Whereas Bhagavatam is so wonderful. When I was just going through this third canto, beginning of the first chapter, something really interesting I found. Maybe other devotees, I'm sure everyone would have noticed. How, when Vidur inquires about the Yadus and his relatives and the Pandavas, how he addresses, how he inquires. It's a very wonderful way. First of all, what they would do, what he would say is some glorification of the devotee in relation to the Lord. For example, he says, for Vasudev, we say, oh, Vasudev, he's so munificent. He's fatherly to his sisters, and he was so caring and dear to his wives. How is Vasudev doing? Similarly, goes along to the other, Pradyumna. Oh, he's the commander-in-chief. He's like resembles, he's Cupid. Pradyumna was Cupid in his previous life. And he was born from the womb of Mother Rukmini. And likewise, he goes for about 10 devotees I was just counting, 10 associates of Krishna from Dwarka. Then he asks about the Pandavas. Then he's like, talks about Dhritarashtra, how he, knowingly also he made such big offenses to the Lord. Now, this is a culture of Srimad Bhagavatam. I was thinking, could we do something similar? Like if we meet somewhere else, let's say meet somewhere in Vrindavan, we're all in a yatra or somewhere, or maybe we've not met after a long time, we've been away from Manor. How will we remember? We normally will call, okay, how's Anand Gopal Prabhu, how's his Prabhu, how's, all the Prabhus. What could be this? And we can't imitate the great souls. But I was thinking, this could be amazing culture if we start to ask about, oh, how is our dear Prayojan Prabhu? He's the head of the brahmacharis. He's the maintainer of the temple of Radha Gokulananda. And then I glorify. And then it creates such a positive mood. And similarly, I was thinking about so many devotees. When I started to do this, okay, how will I do this? How will I, remember all the devotees like Krishna Purna Mataji, oh, she's the mother of the temple, how she's feeding all the visitors from outside and everyone. and she's how wonderfully taking care of the volunteers. Likewise, we can go on, Anand Gopal, oh wonderful, how he's decoratively, how the deity dressing and everything is just going to another level every day. It's such a wonderful, how is he doing? Like, we first glorify the devotee and then ask, how is he doing? It creates such a positive and such a, Krishna conscious presentation and inquiry. This is the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam that we receive. Maybe something that we can adopt. It's interesting that if we can do that. Anyway, so coming back to the verse we spoke about, the Krishna's pastime, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, Evam Yo Veti Tattvataha Tattva Devam Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Swarajana. So this is again we hear that Janma Karma Chame Divyam, his birth and his activities, all his Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, all of these are wonderful, transcendental pastimes of the Lord, can only be understood by a devotee, not by anyone else. Others, how they would think? They would think that Krishna was another ordinary mortal person. And when the difference between Krishna's janma and a ordinary soul's janma, there is so much difference. Krishna says in the second canto, he is glancing the pradhan and with what? With the kala, karma and swabhav of the jivas, so that they come and they associate with the material nature, and then they are looking away from Krishna and forgetting. This is explained there. But Krishna's janma is transcendental. It says in this 4th chapter also the same thing. And the karma also, we spoke about karma also, Krishna is never entangled. So how does it work? We discuss about that. How does it work? Because Krishna, eventually, because the desire of the individual conditioned soul or naradhamas is to be away from Krishna, Krishna facilitates that. So this is all I was thinking, that maybe we can discuss a little bit of Abhiram Thakur's pastimes, and then we can have some questions. So Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai 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 Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Srila Ramdas Abhiram Das Thakur ki Jai. So very, very special devotee, associate of the Lord. And he's one of the Dwadash Gopal, one of the 12 Gopas in the Sakhya Ras with Lord Krishna in his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan. Everyone heard of Abhiram Das? Abhiram Thakur, everyone's aware. Or should we give more? Okay. So Abhiram Thakur was special in many ways. He's obviously Sakha, he's Sridham. Who is Sridham? Who is Sridham? Yeah, Srimati Radharani's brother. He's Sridham. So he was so close to Krishna and other Gopas. Very special. But what happened is, it is mentioned there are a few references. One of his disciple, his name was Tilak Ramdas. He has written a Lilamrit, like we have Prabhupada Lilamrit. That's why he written Abhiram Lilamrit, where he is narrating all the pastimes of Abhiram Thakur. There's also mention of Abhiram Thakur in Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Adi Lila, 10th chapter, 116. Ramadas Abhiram Sakhya Prema Rashi Shola Shangera Kashtatuli Yekar Ilavamshi. Ramadas Abhiram was fully absorbed in the mellow of friendship, Sakhya Prema Rashi. And he made a flute, Sola Shangera Kashta, wood. He made a flute of a bamboo stick with 16 knots. It's also mentioned that in the other Bhakti Ratnakar that because he was a Sakha, all the Krishna's associates, all the Gopas would also have a flute. It's not just Krishna would have a flute. They will also play flute, but nobody obviously could play flute like Krishna. But they would all have a flute because they're Gopas and they would be inviting the cows, and that's how they would converse with the cows, with the flute, and obviously with the other Gopas also. So he was also always loving to play flute. So one time, in his mood of a Gopa, he was looking around, where is my flute? He couldn't find a flute. So he found there was a massive says, what is it? Not a branch, but the stem, no, the big log, trunk, yeah, that's right, sorry. Trunk of a tree. And he picks up that trunk and starts to play flute with that. It is mentioned that normally, 16 or 30, somewhere it's mentioned 32 people could not lift that trunk. And he not only lifted it, and he was playing flute on that trunk. So this is Abhiram Thakur. He also had some other special features. One of the features was his whip, Jayamangal. His whip used to be called Jayamangal. And the other feature he had was, he was such a pure devotee and associate of the Lord, with this special quality that if he offered obeisances to anyone who is not a devotee, that person is dead, finished. And also, if he would offer his obeisances to Shila, well, which is not a Shila, but a stone, the stone will crush, immediately breaks. But if he offers obeisance and the stone still remains, that's the proper authorized Shila. There was Abhiram Thakur. So many pastimes. So we talk about his appearance. First of all, what happened is mentioned in the Abhiram Lilamrit. So one time, Krishna and other Gopas, they were playing hide and seek. So Sridham, what happened? He hid in a cave somewhere. And Krishna and Balaram, they were all performing pastimes. And then they thought, okay, let's go to Navadvip. So they want to now perform Gaura Leela. So they leave that place and they come to Gaura Leela. And they forget that Sridham is hiding in the cave. They forget to bring him along. So Mahaprabhu, Krishna, appears as Mahaprabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu as Balaram. And as they are performing the Gaur Leela, suddenly Mahaprabhu realized, oh, where is my friend Sridham? We left him there. He might be still hiding. So he says immediately, Nityananda Prabhu, you have to go and bring Sridham. We left him alone. So Nityananda Prabhu goes to Sridham. He says, and Sridham is actually lost. He said, where were you? I was looking for all of you. And Nityananda was, oh, sorry, we are actually now in Navadvip. And we're performing Gaura Leela. And Mahaprabhu is asking you, Krishna is asking you to come join us. And he looks at Nityananda Prabhu and says, who are you? And Nityananda Prabhu says, I am Balaram. Don't you recognize me? He says, you're Balaram. How can you be Balaram? You're so small. Because in the Dwapar Yuga, the used to be 7 times the length of your arm. This used to be the height of humans. In the Kali Yuga, obviously, we are 3.5 times or something. And it will probably go down and down. It will remain probably just 1 arm at some stage, the way we are progressing in this Kali Yuga at the moment. So Balaram says, no, Nityananda says, no, I am the same Balaram. Says, but how do I know you're the same Balaram? Maybe this is a joke with me. He says, no, you remember how I can run very fast. Yes, I remember. He says, okay, Balaram says, okay, if you now run, if I don't catch you in 10 steps, then you know that I'm not Balaram. Sridham says, yes, I know. Balaram says, yes, let's do it. So Balaram starts to run. Another Sridham says, okay, I will run and you catch me. If you catch me under 10 steps, I know you're Balaram. So Sridham starts to run. As he runs, literally in 4 steps, Balaram catches him. Okay, now he is agreed. Sridham says, yes, now I can understand. Now Sridham is now upset, like, okay, now I understand you are Balaram, and I was alone here. How could you leave me alone? So Sridham was very upset. I was here alone and you all went there and now you're coming to bring me. This is an insult. Now, Sakya, they can have this kind of relationship mellows with Krishna and Balaram. He said, I'm not going to come with you. They said, no, Nityananda, no, you must come. You have to come. He said, no, I'm not going to come with you. He says, finally, after a lot of, negotiation, he says, okay, I will not come, but I will expand into my other form. So he expands into Abhiram Thakur. And he joins Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu. And in the past times, he said, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, said that So he was associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but when Mahaprabhu asked Nityananda Prabhu to go and preach in Bengal, he asked Abhiram and other two devotees also to join Nityananda Prabhu and go around and preach the Krishna's name. So that's how he appears. And Abhiram Thakur, as we said before, he had actually there's another fact. So today is his disappearance day, and he was living in a place called Khanakul, Krishnanagar. This is not the same Krishnanagar which is near Navdvip. This is near Hooghly. This is not far from Kolkata. You have to take a train, Prabhupada explains in the purport somewhere, to get to that place. It's not far. So that place is famous for Abhiram Thakur. And today, even today, on this day of disappearance of his, seventh day of Krishna Paksha of Chaitra month, they are still celebrating the Gopinath festival. So his deities were Gopinath. So he had, like other acharyas, he had his own deities, and how the deities appeared. Like he was one time sitting in his Braj mood under a bakula tree. Like we have Siddha Bakul, there's also Siddha Bakul in Krishnanagar there. He was sitting under the tree in his mood of remembering Krishna, and he suddenly, had a little nap. And in that time, in his dream, Krishna appeared and said, okay, actually I am now here, hidden behind the bush, and I want you to worship me. And Abhiram wakes up and immediately realizes, okay, that's wonderful. So he then goes, gets some arrangement and digs that place, and he finds the wonderful deity of Shri Gopinathji. That Gopinath deity is still there, and they are having a festival. And there are some other deities also there, but they are having a festival today as we speak. There's a big festival going on in the remembrance of Abhiram Thakur. And it's said that he also married Malini Devi, who was very, very special devotee again, in the instruction of Nityananda Prabhu. There's also many pastimes of Malini Devi also, but I think there'll be some time later maybe. So we discuss about the appearance of his deity Gopinath. Even there's also near that where they were digged, that place then converted into a kund, and that place, the kund name is Ramakund. And it is said that anyone who takes a sip of water from that kund and puts some water on the head, they get the prema, Krishna prema. So that's still there happening. And the tree that he was sitting is also called Siddha Bakul, like where Siddha Bakul in Jagannath Puri, where Haridas Thakur used to chant holy names. So this is the same place, very, very famous, popular. Now, we spoke about obeisances. There are some special pastimes about his obeisances. Obviously, who were non-devotees would run away looking at him, because he was not only, with all these special qualities, he was also a very fiery preacher. So the non-devotees and all these Maya Pratagyanas, they would all run away from him when they see him from distance. Abhiram Thakur was so powerful. And obviously no one wanted to be, offering obeisances near him, because if just in case he exchanges that mood and he offers obeisances, if anyone had a little bit of material desire also left, they will be, then, they will have to take another birth immediately. So, quite a scary situation. So, devotees would offer obeisances from distance, far away, and okay, he's a great soul. So, there are some pastimes also, it is mentioned in Abhiram Lilamrit, about his obeisances to the Nityanand's Vansha also. It is said that Nityananda Prabhu married Vasudha and Janava Devi. And as they were having children, what used to happen, like the first child was born, and Abhiram comes to know that Nityananda Prabhu, there's a child born in Nityananda Prabhu's lineage, must be, has to be the Swayam Prakash. So he goes and offers obeisances to the child. And as soon as he offers obeisances, what happens? The child dies. That's people get scared. What happened? Like suddenly he offers obeisance, the child dies. But Nityananda Prabhu is said that Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they are, they're the Lord themselves. How can all these things happen to them? But it is said that the Lord wants to glorify his devotees. So this is the glories of Abhiram Thakur. Another time, second time, same thing happens. There's another child is born, and Abhiram Thakur comes again, and he again offers obeisances. The child dies again. Now this is getting serious. And then, like that, one by one, 7 children of Nityananda Prabhu, like that, leaves the material world. Now this is really getting serious. So Nityananda Prabhu also, in the Leela, he says, okay, this is too worrying, so next time maybe we should not invite him. But again, the child gets birth, and that's Ganga Devi. And somehow Abhiram Thakur again appears, and he offers obeisances, but this child lives, survives, and say, okay, that's amazing. That's the real Nityananda Prabhu's expansion. Then he says, then he offers, immediately he writes, Abhiram Thakur immediately writes Ganga Devi Ashtakam. So 8 prayers or 8 glorification of Ganga Devi, Nityananda Prabhu's daughter. After some time, this is the great Veerachandra, Veerabhadra also, Veerachandra sometimes called. He is born. And this time Nityananda Prabhu decides, okay, we will not invite Abhiram Thakur. He not only does that, what he does is, because he used to live across other side of the river, he said to all the boatmen that if you see Abhiram Thakur, he wants to cross the river, do not do that. Do not take him across the river. We don't want him to come. But somehow Abhiram Thakur was also not sent an invitation, but Vakreshwar Pandit goes and he gets to know that, there's a child born in Nityananda Prabhu's house, then he has to go and take darshan. But all his attempts to go across the river are failed because nobody wants to take him across. Finally, what he does, he puts his chadar on the water, and that becomes like a boat, and he sits on it and crosses the river and gets to Nityananda Prabhu's home. And then everyone's like, what's happening? He's here, arrived. So they devise a plan. Let's start feeding him. Let's feed him. They start to feed him unlimitedly. Because if it's too much food, then people can get intoxicated, and it's difficult to offer obeisances also. So they had a plan. Okay, feed him too much. So he gave him too much prasad, but he's a gopa. They can eat as much as he can feed them. So he gets fed, but finally he says, okay, now you fed me well. Where is the child I want to take, his darshan? I want to offer my obeisances. From Nityananda Prabhu said, no, you have done it so many times. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do it. It's all right. It's okay. You don't have to do it. He said, no, how can I not? I must do it. So somehow, he just insists, and Nityananda Prabhu says, okay, how can we say no? And he makes his way to Veerabhadra, who's mentioned. He's the Shirodakshaya Vishnu, expansion of Nityananda Prabhu. And he offers obeisances, and obviously he survives. And again, Abhiram Thakur writes a Ashtakam for Veerabhadra also, Veerachandra. So like that. So there are other passions also of his obeisances. One time there was this child, Raghunandan. Have you heard of Raghunandan? Small, he's the son of Mukunda. Yes, little child. He was a very special devotee. He offered, maybe I'm just going to cut short in time. He offered, one time his father, Mukunda, he was the brother of Narahari Sarkar also, who's written Bhakti Ratnakar. So one time Mukunda has to leave, and he asked Raghunandan, why don't you offer? I have to leave now, but I could not offer the bhoga, Raj Bhog to the deities. Why don't you offer? And then I can go. He said, okay, I will offer. But he says, give him okay, this is how you do offer, and make sure Krishna eats. Okay? So let Raghunandan goes, and he makes the offering, sings all the mantras, and he says, eat. And obviously this is deity, how they eat with the eyes. They don't need to come and actually eat it. But Raghunandan, a little boy, he doesn't understand all this philosophy. He says, well, why not coming and eating? He says, well, Krishna, is not responding. After some, he starts to cry, and then, finally Krishna says, why are you crying? He says, I have offered you, my father asked me to offer you the bhoga. You're not eating it. I'll be told off. He says, but I've eaten. He says, no, you're not eaten. This is still here. But Krishna says, well, this is how I eat. Well, don't give me philosophy. Don't give me all this philosophy how you eat. I know you have to eat this. That's all. So Krishna, he has to bend because Raghunandan is such a pure devotee. Likewise happened. And then later on, his father is also, puzzled. How did it happen? Where is the bhoga? He asked his wife, where is the prasad? He said, there is no prasad. Raghunandan took it inside and everything is eaten. What? How is that possible? Then he again gives him laddus. Okay, now you offer laddus and see whether he eats. And again Raghunandan goes offers laddus. He says, come on, eat this laddu. You just had the other meal. You can have laddus also. Krishna says, I just had a big lunch, More laddu now. No, you have to eat. He starts crying again. So again he eats. And now Mukunda is watching through. So this is Raghunandan Thakur. He's such a, pure soul, pure devotee of the Lord. Krishna appears and, takes his bhoga personally. Now, Abhiram comes to know about this. He wants to offer obeisance to Raghunandan. How will that happen? So he comes and people get to know, oh, he's coming. Because he was very famous by that time, Abhiram Thakur. He comes, he's offering obeisances, means there is going to be some risk. Nobody wants to take a risk. What if there is a small tinge of material desire still left in the little boy? It's not a little boy. It's too risk. Then there's a hide Raghunandan somewhere. He's going to come. So Abhiram comes and he says, where is Raghunandan? I want to meet him. He says, no, he's not here. Go around. He said, no, I want to take his darshan. No, he's not here. He goes, okay, that's fine. He leaves the village, sits outside. But it is said that Raghunandan then comes to know that Abhiram had come to meet him. He goes and then finds Abhiram Thakur and takes his darshan. They offer obeisances to each other and they, embrace each other and do lots of lila like that. That's one. There's another pastime. I'm just concerned. There's Gopal Guru who was like, who's the Gopal Guru? He's the little Gopal who Mahaprabhu said is the Guru. Why? Because Gopal was correcting some devotee who was trying to hold his tongue when going to the toilets. So why are you holding your tongue? He said, I don't want to chant Lord's name in the toilet. It's not a pure place. He says, no, the Lord's name is pure. He's pure in all situations. And you're going to go to your ablutions. What if you die there? Will you not take Lord's name? The devotee, wow, that's a very valid point, We can die anywhere, anytime. He says, okay. Then Mahaprabhu comes to know about him. And then everyone knows about him now. So Abhiram also knows, this is what happened. Mahaprabhu, named his Gopal as Gopal Guru. So Abhiram wants to offer obeisances again. He again finds, reaches there, and then Mahaprabhu comes from Abhiram is coming. Everyone says, now this is, we already had so many incidents. We don't want this boy to, we don't want this boy, anything to happen to this boy. Please protect him. Mahaprabhu then puts his toe on his head. And that's how his lineage disciples are wearing a special tilak. And even then, Gopal and others are scared. So Mahaprabhu said, don't worry, I'm here. So as soon as Abhiram comes, what happens is this Gopal jumps on Mahaprabhu's lap and Abhiram offers obeisances and is protected like that. The third thing is he had a special whip like either used for the for the oxen, and a long. I haven't even seen a whip. It's a long one. So Abhiram had this blue whip, and he would, if he hits anyone with the whip, he immediately gets Krishna Prem. He starts to chant and he gets all the ecstasies. And this is what everyone, if wish we could get that, isn't it? Maybe we can find that whip somewhere. Just get the whip and it's all done. That's how our whip was. And that whip is also now, there's a pastime of Srinivas Acharya, the famous Srinivas Acharya. He also gets the whip. Abhiram becomes so pleased with Srinivas. He tests him this short of time now. And he puts 1, 2, 3, and then Malini, whose wife of Abhiram, says, no, don't hit him again. He'll be unconscious if you do it so much. Like every time he hits, he just jumps in ecstasy, Srinivas. Second time again jumps and starts to dance and is, hair raising on the end. So this is Abhiram Thakur, special devotee. So we take his blessing and we pray that someday we get the whip and we also get some Krishna Prem. Thank you so much, devotees. It's 7:30 now. Bunch of time. Any comments or point of discussion? It's 7:30.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. I'm just wondering this pastime with, Sridham in Goloka, and then they're coming to Navadvip. Is this an actual pastime in the sense that we hear that Krishna's pastimes they're always existing, they're always manifest. Therefore, how can Krishna's associates be away from Goloka? Is it just like a story, or is it an actual pastime?
Krishna associates are away from Goloka. They're never away from Goloka. So say again. So is this a pastime that you are saying?
Would this when
how
Sridham's
did
hiding and then everyone else has gone to Navadvip.
How did everyone go away from? Yeah, okay. There's Aprakat and Prakat Leela. Aprakat and Prakat Leela, isn't it? So in the Aprakat Leela, they're always there. In the Prakat Leela, they come here in Gorma, perform the Gaur Leela like that. That making sense? Like manifested, unmanifested pastimes are Prakat. So they are always there. Krishna is always there in his transcendental form, and they are always in Goloka, always in Vrindavan.
So in the spiritual world as well.
Yes, at the same time, yes.
The
At the same time, there's the spiritual world. So Krishna can be at one place, in multiple forms.
But how can he be not in one place?
How can he not be?
How can he be not in one place? How can he be unmanifested in the spiritual world?
How can he be unmanifested in? So we're talking about Vrindavan as so you got Goloka Vrindavan, Goloka and Gokul.
Mm-hmm.
So he was performing pastime in Gokul. From there, the Siddhama, all the pastimes happening from there, and then they come here to Gaura Leela. At the same time, the Leela is also happening in the spiritual world. There may be other Leelas happening. The Leela is happening all the time. Every day, Krishna is performing Leela in one or the other universe, isn't it? So he appears once in the day of Brahma, in the material world. And when he appears at the same time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. Is that making sense? Maybe someone can. Is that making sense? Param Karuna Brahma. Achintya, inconceivable. Or we can only probably repeat something.
You spoke about how in Kali Yuga the height is decreasing of people and also age is decreasing. In fact, when you look at the statistics, the height is increasing by far, and also age is also increasing in terms of how long people live for. So how would you explain that to someone?
Okay, so I think the question is, in the scripture it says that the height will be decreasing as time goes, but actually we see the height is increasing. The statistics says that, and also the age is increasing. But it's all because we are seeing the history of a very short time. In my village, nobody lived under anything below 98 in a healthy life. Healthy, proper, because they were like doing work. I have to say this. My grandfather, only child of his father, he had like acres of land, 4 cows, 9 children, and he used to do all of this himself. Only child. He would look after the fields, he would do the farming, he would look after the cows, raise the children, provided for the family, looked after the parents. He lived 98 with no health issues. And before he was leaving, he was almost saying, I think, So this is relative. What we are seeing is now a bit relative from the recent 200 years. This is like a small wave coming up. But I think this is a very valid point because it's very close to my heart. It's like what we are eating at the moment, what the food is, the air, the water and the food, everything is contaminated. So there is guaranteed that's going to happen. Maybe some interim situation that the height is growing. They're also not growing compared to 200 years ago. People were even taller and people healthier and stronger. 300 years maybe, because we're reading the recent history. This is what my understanding is. But also the life is also like it's a furniture life. I know all my neighbors are 95 plus. They're all like being taken care by, they're hardly they can move, they can talk. So this is furniture life, they call it. So, keeping medication. Yeah.
But it's not. It's not like in Vedic times, pure life. Yeah, they all kept alive on medication. Also, you could say that we're kind of on the cusp of Lord Chaitanya's 10,000 golden age, and Kali Yuga is being kept back because of the Sankirtan movement. Therefore, that's not really going to progress. Kali is not really going to progress fully until the 10,000 years are gone and the Sankirtan movement is no longer on the planet. So within that time period, yeah, it may seem like we're increasing in age and vitality, etc. But once 10,000 years is gone, then it's all going to completely collapse.
Has to collapse. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Oh, yes, okay. Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Chela Viram Thakur ki jai.